Now in this video I want to talk about my awakening and how everything in my life turned around. First I'm going to give you a little background on how it all started. Because of how my childhood went, I was at war with the world. My parents broke up and this introduced a lot of negative vibration, a lot of negative thought into my reality, and I wasn't able to shake it. I wasn't able to turn it around. The reason for this is that I believed that I was the cause for the breakup. Of course, that was just childish thinking, but that's what I believed at the time. Now, what this led to is that my self-esteem was completely shattered. I became very negative, and this was reflected by all aspects of my life. Because of my negative attitude, I wasn't very popular at school. This was also reflected by my marks because they weren't very good. I wasn't really paying attention at school, and as soon as I got home, I would basically take my bag, throw it into the corner, and start to escape into the computer. I would basically just play video games all day long. On top of that, I didn't have a very good relationship with my mother and my brother. For many years this stayed the same and nothing changed. There was, however, a slight tipping point, and that's when my brother started to visit more often. Eventually we became very close and we started doing many things together. A lot of the times we would hang out and talk and do things juvenile brothers do. Something that is very important for my story is that my father had prostate cancer. He wasn't able to shake the cancer completely, but the treatments he underwent gave him valuable years. This was the reason that my brother and I started looking into alternative ways of medicine. Basically, we believed that conventional medicine was bad. And this belief that conventional medicine was bad sort of affected other areas of our life. I looked at economy, society, law, the schooling system, pretty much everything, and I would see at the negative aspects of it. And all of this together caused me to look at everything in a completely negative way. Basically, I was at war with the world. Now, as the negative spiral progressed, I lost my friends and eventually I also lost my girlfriend. I was at rock bottom and nothing worked anymore. It is at that point that I realized that something had to change. I wasn't just thinking that, but genuinely from the bottom of my heart, I wanted things to be different. I looked at what others had and what I had, and I realized that things had to change. Apparently, everything that I was doing was counterproductive. And that's when I found Abraham Hicks. Or rather, Abraham Hicks found me. For those of you who don't know Abraham Hicks, there is a woman who's called Esther Hicks, and she's channeling a non-physical entity called Abraham. Hence the name Abraham Hicks. To sum up what Abraham are doing, basically they teach us about the law of attraction and how to manifest everything we desire. I applied what Abraham are teaching, but more on that in other videos. However, what I did was, in applying their teachings, I would finally, for the first time in my life, break through the negative thinking that I have and shift my mind into a positive mindset. Through applying their teachings, for the first time in my life, I was able to feel true exhilaration. I was able to leave the negative thinking that I had at that time, and in this one moment, it was transcendental. Feel at one with the Creator. Feel the oneness with being itself. Feel the love and appreciation that the Creator has for us, and to be at total peace. I relished the moment and I remember it as if it was yesterday. I was sort of high on the positive emotions that I had, and this held on for several days until I awakened. I remember this day as if it was yesterday. I was at work going after my daily tasks until I felt strange. I felt something inside of me coming up, and I would best describe it as something similar to a panic attack. This was the first time I had this kind of experience in my life. It caused me to look at reality differently. Everything I perceived and how I perceived shifted. Since I wasn't feeling so good, I went home and continued to have this sort of panic attack for at least 4 to 5 hours, and I genuinely thought I was going to die. Finally, I fell asleep, and when I woke up, nothing was the same. I still was where I was. I still had my negative belief system. Nothing really that surrounded me had changed, of course. Since I had the same belief system, the same negative thoughts would come up as they had before. However, the way I experienced these beliefs totally changed. I no longer owned my thoughts, I no longer was my thoughts, I no longer was connected with my thoughts. Rather, I looked at the thoughts that I had and I thought they were someone else's. I sort of stepped back and was able to evaluate the thoughts that I had. Now, as the negative thoughts began to come up again, I was angry and disappointed, and I was looking at myself being disappointed, I was looking at others being disappointed, and all the things that had beaten down on me at the time. I sort of was able to say that, well, that's not true. And so I started to question about every thought that I had. And I asked myself, was this really something that I want to be thinking? And that's the tipping point on how my journey began. I looked into the law of attraction. I researched, and I wanted to know just about everything there is to know about it. I listened to countless hours of Abraham Hicks, I watched the movie The Secret, and this caused me to realize that we are in control of our thoughts and our emotions. Dr. Wayne Dyer says, if we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And that's exactly what I began doing. I want this channel to be about how to turn things to the positive, how to change the way we look at things. I realized that by staying in alignment with ourselves, by becoming who we truly are, every moment of our lives, we truly start to live. On this channel, I want to document my journey and hopefully give people value. As I evolve, naturally, the channel is going to evolve as well. But the most important factor of this channel is you, the viewer. Because without you, this channel is just a diary. And because of that, I would like to enter a dialogue with you. So if you have already awakened, why don't you tell us about how your awakening went? And if you haven't yet, maybe you want to tell us about where you are stuck. This is going to help me get more ideas on how I can be of value. And together we can make this journey and evolve. I'm Stefan with Alignment 1. Thank you for having watched this video all the way to the end, and see you next time.